right, guys, let's do it. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about church hurt.
Wonder.
Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like that.
All right, guys. So, as I stated in the beginning of the video, we're gonna talk about church hurt. I actually received a video about, discussing church hurt, and I know I did a video recently about my church journey, but in this video I kind of touched on church hurt, but in this video I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth. So before I get to it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video if you want to. I don't care. And also, guys, that surprise is still on the way. I know I've been telling y'all this for like mad long, but for real, y'all, that surprise is on the way. Trust me. It's like soon. I already got some stuff going on with the surprise. I just want to make sure I want to get everything together first before I actually present the surprise to you guys. I want to make sure everything is in order. So with that being said, let's get into this video. So church hurt. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, I am a preacher's kid. My father is a pastor. My grandma was a pastor slash minister. My mother, even though she don't have a title as a pastor, she's a minister. I have an uncle that's a pastor as well. So it's just, preaching all up and through my family. So I have had experience on top of experience inside of the church arena. I want to be candid and very open about my experience. I don't want to be political. I don't want to, oh my God, I might rub somebody the wrong way. I want to be so open and transparent. So my church journey is similar to everybody else that grew up in church. You deal with a lot of criticism, and it starts out when you're a little kid. I say that because as a little kid, not saying that my parents forced me to be anything but myself, but having a parent that's in the spotlight, it kind of creates this whole demeanor that you have to be perfect, because the church people can be very obnoxious and very opinionated. They could be very opinionated even when you don't ask them. So because my dad was a preacher and still is, it taught me to kind of be robotic in a way, because I have two older brothers, and I don't have any kids, but for those of you that do have kids, I know you know how guys and how boys do. They don't care. Like my brothers, they just didn't care about their dad being a preacher. They didn't care about being in the spotlight. They didn't care about none of that. Me, on the other hand, I was the only girl, and I was younger, so I wanted to be, because I saw how the church would mouth start rumbling once somebody got out of line that was in my daddy family. And it was usually, it wasn't like family on down the line, like cousins, aunties, uncles, grandma and them. It was like the immediate family, like your wife, your spouse, your kids, people like that. So whenever we did something, got in trouble in school or fighting, or my brother's case messing with girls that's not holy, the church's mouth started to rumble. So when I seen that, because I was the youngest, I seen a lot of things that my brothers was doing, and I saw how it kind of came on to my dad, like, like your kids out here doing woot woot woot, you can't be a man of God and your kids is, woot woot woot. So I wanted to be a little bit more different, I will say, because I didn't want my dad to get criticized, and I didn't want to get criticized. I hate being talked about. But I tell you one thing. If you don't like being talked about, I promise you the best way to get over it is to go to a church. I promise you that. You would definitely learn how to have thick skin and how to be tough, because they talk about everything. When I say everything, I forgot where I got that from, but yeah. So I wanted to be a little bit more different. Simply, I don't know if you guys can see me. I got my curtain pulled back. There we go. I wanted to be a little bit more different, simply because I wanted to represent not only for myself but for my dad. I didn't want my dad to be criticized and put down because of what his children were doing. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be different. So it created this robotic sort of outlook on church. I learned how to fake smile. I learned how to act like everything is okay when everything is not okay. Almost like the mask. I had a mask. On the inside, I was toe up from the floor up. You feel me? Like, I was really like, I had some issues. That's all I was saying. I had some issues. But in church, you wouldn't be able to tell. You would not be able to tell. I was smiling all the time, laughing, playing. But girl, you just don't know. I wanted to say some unholy words to so-and-so over there on the praise team. I wanted to smack a couple of drummers. You know what I'm saying? Like, but since a little girl, I was always, I was carrying this robotic sort of, you can't do anything, you can't be a kid, you can't, you have to live this straight and narrow way, to the point that it carried on to my adult life. So as an adult, I carried that with me, even when I wasn't going to the church, to my father's church. I was going to other churches, and I still had this, yeah, I'm okay. And somebody asked me, yo, you okay? Or how you doing? And I'm okay. Nothing's wrong with me. Woo, woo, woo. I'm just filled with the Holy Ghost. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just so, like, robotic. And, people don't think that church hurt is real. And it's so real, guys. Like, even though I started as a little girl, it just carried on up to adulthood. So when I experienced church hurt, because as a kid, I didn't really know what was going on. I was young, you know what I'm saying? So the little conversations, the gossip and stuff like that, it didn't really faze me, because I was young, I was a kid, as an adult, the things that people would say, let me tell you something, because I had somebody try to tell me, Miracle, I was actually talking to an atheist one time when I was in college, and he told me he don't really do the church scene, and he was raised in church as well, so I kind of understood, because we had similar situations. And he told me, I just can't see myself going back into that scenery. It's just so much gossip, so much hating going on. And I'm gonna tell you one thing: if you go to church, but I had to learn. I'm gonna tell you, because I stopped going to church. People that's close to me know, like, I literally stopped going to church, and I'm a church girl. Like, I was raised in church. I stopped going once I experienced my last church hurt. Guys, I literally fell out of church. I fell out of love with church. I didn't like church people at all. I didn't want nothing to do with church folks. I didn't like them at all. But let me tell you, I just started going back to church this year. I've been driving I've been driving. I'm going on 2 years next month. So that means I've been out of church. I've been out of church way longer than 2 years. I'm gonna tell you that now. I've been out of church, I'll probably say 2.5 years. Maybe longer than that. I don't know. But I'm gonna say I've been working at church for 3 years. I was working at a previous church before the church that I'm attending now. I was working at that church for 3 years and some change. I really enjoyed it, guys. I really did, but then it just became a job instead of doing this as a servant to, you know, the Most High. So I kind of, once I experienced my church hurt at the church that I was working at, which I'm going to dig into that deeper, but I want to make my point. I just started going back to church this year. And I'm going to say this. I had to find God for myself. Like, I knew, like, don't get it twisted. Just because I left church didn't mean that I left God. I knew that God didn't have nothing to do with what I was experiencing at church. But I was still kind of young. I was like in my early 20s, so I was still learning how to, you know, brush off the comments and the words and stuff like that. So I let a lot of stuff get to me that, looking back at it, I feel like now that I'm older and way more mature now, I don't think I would have let a lot of stuff get to me as much as I did. But my point is this. When you go to church, you need to go in there looking for God. Because if you go in there looking for something other than Jesus the Christ, you're going to come out of there way more broken and way more crazier. I'm sorry, guys. This is a truck pulling up to me, so I'm closing my curtain. You're gonna come out there way more broken, way more crazier than what you did when you walked in that thing. So I will encourage you to, yes, I know, you know, you dealt with gossip, you dealt with church hurt, you dealt with this, you dealt with that. And I'm gonna say this, just because you dealt with that at one church, don't mean you're going to deal with it at another church. All churches are, not everybody is the same. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is the same. Now, I'll be lying if I said that nobody gossip. Like, it's a church that you can find that nobody gossip, nobody lies, nobody do this. You don't have this person sleeping with this person. You don't have this, you don't have that. Because that'll be a lie. That'll be a lie. The same things that you can get out there in the streets, you can get in the church. So that's why I say, when you do decide to go back to church, please, I stress this because I literally just learned this year. Please go in there looking for God. Because everything else is going to be up in there, and that's going to distract you from what you came in there for. You came to get healed, you came to get saved, you came to, you know, find God. So when you do go back to church, when you do find that church that makes you feel like rejuvenated and you learning and, you know, stuff like that, go in there looking for God. Don't look for nothing else, because everything else is going to be there. It's going to be in there. Look for God and God alone. And I'm going to tell you, when I started looking for, when I actually set my eyes back on Jehovah, everything else that I wanted in life came and is still coming into fruition. Like, I started back paying tithes, guys. I've never been excited about paying my tithes. Like, I'm being so 100 with y'all. Even though I was raised on it, like I was raised to pay your tithes, get your offering, you'll be blessed 100-fold. I was taught that. when I started making money, even when my first job ever, and I was like making a little $500-$600 check, I was not excited about paying no tithes because I couldn't understand it. I was like, why am I giving my money to Buddy driving an Escalade? Like, I just couldn't understand, and I wasn't excited. Y'all, when I started driving the truck, I started to get more connected. I started getting my relationship back with God and stronger. Because I'm spending a lot of time by myself, number one. So you don't have no choice but to, read, listen to music. Like, you just don't have no choice but to do things that would elevate your mind into a positive state. So when I started back going to church, the more time I spent by myself in this truck, the more I grew. I started watching my pastor. I gotta shout my pastor out. Pastor Keon Henderson, in Houston, Texas. Y'all should definitely go check it out. If you can swing by there, I'm telling you, that's one man that's very, very powerful, despite everything that people trying to say or whatever. Y'all, that man is very powerful. When I tell you, I've been in church, like I keep saying it, but I've been in church all my life, from knee-high to grasshopper. Okay, and I only been in his church not even a year. Like, I'd probably say 3, 4, 5 months. Longer than 3 months. Probably like 4 or 5 months. And guys, I have learned so much in a short a period of time that I've learned more than I've learned in 26 years of going to church, being raised in church. And that speaks a lot. Like, that speaks a lot. He's one pastor that I honestly can say that I listen to and I apply everything that he said. Seriously. Like, I have a lot of respect for him because he helped me, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but to be a girl that came from church, that was raised in church, and having a dad as a pastor, to come from that to not going to church, not wanting anything to do with church, not even want to drive by the church, like, and to be back to a place where I'm actually enjoying church, I'm enjoying paying my tithe, I'm excited about paying my tithes on Sunday. Yo, that's crazy. I've never been excited, ever, but I've seen myself grow in ways and in places that I've never grown in 26 years of being raised in church. I'm not trying to, this video is not to force my beliefs on anybody, but I will say that, seriously, church hurt is really real, and I completely understand what some of you are going through when it comes down to church hurt. But I would honestly say, guys, seriously, do not give up on church. Do not give up on God. I didn't know how many people were struggling with church hurt. That's why, that's really why I wanted to share my story of church hurt, because I wanted people to know that they're not the only ones that are dealing with or dealt with, church hurt. There's a lot of people that get hurt and just completely give up on God altogether. I could have did that, but I knew that was not an option because I knew that God didn't have nothing to, he didn't have anything to do with my situation and my situations at the church that I was at. So I knew I couldn't give up on him, but I did give up on church. Because when I tell you guys that the things that took place really, really hurt me to my core, because I really, I really enjoyed that church a lot. I love the pastor there. I love the first lady there. I love the praise and worship leader. Everything is, I really enjoyed that church. So it really hurted me to sit myself down, but guys, it was all worth it in the end because I found I was led to a pastor that I've learned so much from in a short amount of time, and the person that I grew into a better, I'm growing into a better person in the short period of time that I've been at this church. And I haven't even stepped foot in the church. That's crazy. I haven't even been to this church, like physically. I've been online, but I haven't been physically. And that speaks volumes. Like, that really speaks volumes. So I will encourage you to, you know, don't give up on God. Don't give up on church. I know it can be difficult, especially when it seems like, you know, let me tell you this one story. So I was working at, you know, the church, my previous church. I was doing the media / production, and when I first started, it was a lot of talk, and I just couldn't understand it. But it was talk behind my back, like when nobody's saying nothing in my face, except for one person. One person, I respect her because she said it in my face. But when I first started working out, I want to say I was like 20, 21. I know I was in college. I was in medical school. So I was fairly young, and I started working in the media, and this lady, I was walking by to actually, I don't know if I was going to the bathroom or if I was going to, or if I was going to walk to get to the booth, the media booth. So, you know, I'm walking by her, and I found out her husband works on the media team as well. So her husband, me and her husband was really tight. We always shared candy. You know, if he had candy, he gave me some, and vice versa. And it was nothing, you know, it was nothing flirtatious, nothing, you know, sexual. We was just working together because we got to communicate, you know what I'm saying? You have a very, very bad media, a very, very bad media Sunday if your media team is not conversating with each other. So I guess she couldn't understand that, and I guess because I smile a lot, I get that from both of my parents. Both of my parents smile all the time, especially when they're talking to somebody. I mean, we just smile a lot, and I guess she thought that I was being flirtatious because I smile a lot. And so when I was walking by her, she called me a not so nice word, and I'm gonna tell you, she called me a hoe when I walked past her. And so I turned around and I said, excuse me, because she was way much older than me. She was in her 40s, I was in my early 20s, and so she called me a hoe, and I said, excuse me. And guys, we went on through service, but that it kept going through my head, you know what I'm saying? So after service, we had this, my pastor did this, my former pastor, he did this, leadership appreciation, which was in the gym. Which all that is just he wanted to feed everybody that was, that volunteered at church in any ministry, whether it was the usher board or children's church, media, sound, music, choir. He wanted to show appreciation to everybody. So after service, we had to go to the gym, and so I'm, doing my job, shutting everything down, turning the monitors off, turning the soundboard off, turning the computer off, getting the mics out, taking the batteries out the mics to put them on the charger. I'm doing my due diligence. And so, she stops me and she say, we need to talk for a minute. And so, she started rambling on about how she think I'm very flirtatious and that, I shouldn't be up in women, husbands' faces, which I wasn't. I was new to the church, so, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know who was who and what was what. I'm just like laughing and talking with everybody because that was my personality. So, she goes on and just keep going on. And at that time, I was going through a little something at the house, and I had to find somewhere to stay. Which at that time, my best friend, shout out to my best friend DeMarco, him and his father let me stay at his house. But when I contacted two people, and it was my best friend and it was a church member, which I regret. I dearly regret. I contacted a church member and my best friend because I didn't have anybody else to contact. So I asked them, I told them the situation, and I asked them, can I stay at your house for a little while until I get myself together. One of them did respond, which was the church member, and my best friend, of course, responded, and he said, yeah, my dad told me to go. So back to this conversation with this lady, y'all, she brought that situation up to me. She brought that up to me, and I was confused. I was like, how you know? I don't even talk to you, and I know I ain't tell your husband, so how you know? So I was confused. I was mad, hurt about that. I definitely stopped talking to that church member. I will say that because it was just a bunch of mess, and nobody even offered, a place to stay, or what I'm saying. Nobody even see if I was okay. They were just talking about it, and I knew it was kind of weird because when I walked in church that Sunday, everybody was just looking at me. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like that was weird. But I didn't think none of it until she brought that up to me. Like, do you have a place to stay? And I was told that she was homeless, and so I was confused. I didn't say anything. I'm just letting her talk. I said, no, I got somewhere to stay. I'm good. And so she's she goes on to tell me, if you need somebody to talk to, come talk to me or whatever. You don't have to, be talking to a bunch of guys or whatever. And so I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even talk to a bunch of guys. I just talk to whoever talk to me. Like, but I guess I shouldn't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I definitely let that get to me, and so my whole mood was kind of off, and I started to back up my steps so I could leave to go home. And I want to say my former pastor, his wife, I think she ended up seeing me about to sneak out. I was trying to sneak out of the church so I could go home, you see, because I didn't think they was going to even notice that I wasn't in there, because it was I already had enough. A few of my team members was in there, so I was like, you know what, I ain't gotta represent for us, because you know people from the team is already in there. So you know, she saw me about to sneak out, and she came and said something to me. She told me, you know, a little birdie told her this, you know, that somebody came up to me and said something to me, and woo woo woo. And guys, that's honestly when I started to realize that I was dealing with gossip at the church. Y'all, when I tell y'all I was so clueless about, when I tell y'all I was, ooh, this, that, and that. When I tell you guys I was so clueless about gossip in the church, because as I said before, I was a little girl, so a lot of stuff just went over my head. That was the first time I ever experienced it and was able to understand church church gossip. So when that happened, I was kind of like, you know, but it didn't really affect me too much, because finally got it, I think, because my first lady ended up taking care of the situation. So it kind of made me feel like, okay, so you know, they really care, you know, about me. So I brushed that off my shoulder, like, yeah, whatever. 3 years go by, stuff's still going on. I'm friends with people that I'm grateful that I had the experience, because it taught me a lot. But looking back at it, I definitely would have been more cautious of who I let in my circle and who I told personal things to, because it was just becoming a bunch of gossip and nonsense, and I regret it. I really do, but I learned a lot, especially when I should have paid attention to it more, especially when I have, you know, people that's close to the pastor telling me, you know, yo, you need to chill out on being friends with so-and-so, because your business is getting out here in the streets and blah, 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 blah. I should have paid attention to it then, but like I said, I was still a little young and naive, and guys, I was really, like, when I tell you, I felt like I was one of them girls that felt like everybody was my friend, and nobody's gonna treat me bad, nobody's gonna do me dirty, because I wouldn't do it. I felt like people had the same heart as me, and boy, was I wrong. Like was I wrong? I had to seriously learn. Like, I didn't have the spirit of discernment. I'm gonna tell you, I really did. I really felt like, you know, nobody's gonna do me dirty. Like, I felt like everybody had the same heart that I did, and you know, nobody would do that. But I was wrong. But I am grateful for the experience, because like I said, it taught me so much. I know what I would do now. I know what I won't do now. I know who I would, you know, be friends with and who I won't be friends with. So, guys, it's more to it. It's more to it. That was just a little. That we didn't even scratch the surface, but that was just, you know, a little something. Because I wanted to be transparent. So, like I said earlier, just because you go through a little experience or a little hurt or a little tar, a little funkiness at church does not mean you have to give up on church. Take a little mini break if you have to, but don't leave God. I'm telling you, don't leave Him, because at the end of the day, I promise you, all of it is going to make sense while you in it, it's not gonna make sense because you like, yo, like what? Like I'm not understanding. Like why am I dealing with this? And you know where you at? It would seem so confusing, guys. But I'm telling you, when I took the time out, and I think the best thing that ever happened to me is me getting inside of a semi truck, because I was able to get one-on-one time with God. I was able to gain my relationship back the way it was with God. And I'm telling you, I'm enjoying every bit of it. Since I've gotten my relationship back with him, and since I have joined a ministry that I am learning and growing from, y'all, my life has been elevated to a whole nother level. And I know y'all hear people say that all the time, but I'm being so for real with y'all. Like, my life has been elevated on a crazier level than any level I've ever been on. And I'm just really grateful that I didn't give up. It was times that I wanted to. It was, but I didn't. And so I just want y'all to know, whoever this is for, I don't know who it's for, but I was told, I was directed in my spirit to make this video for somebody. Whoever you are, whatever you're going through, I promise you, nothing is too hard for God. Would I say, Rick, would you ever work in church ever again? Oh no. I'm still praying on it. And honestly, if you want to be technically honest, I'm semi-working in church because my dad got me working on his media to set it. I got to set up his media for him because he wants lyrics and scriptures and cameras and all that stuff going on. So, like I said, it wasn't a bad experience. I learned how to do a lot of stuff that I didn't know how to do previously. You know, and I'm able to help my father with his ministry, you know, when it comes down to media. So it is, all of it wasn't bad, y'all. It really wasn't. It's just a little experience that I've been through. That and I will say this. I'm still learning how to do it, but you have to learn how to address situations when something is hurting you. I didn't grow up learning how to address anything. You know what I'm saying? I grew up just letting stuff slide, sweeping it under the rug, or what you say go, and that's what it is. Even when it's killing me deep down inside. I would say when something hurting you, especially when it comes down to church, address it. Address it. That's the best way you can get over anything that you're going through, is to address it. Because 9 times out of 10, some people don't even know, you know what I'm saying, that they offended you. How would they know that if you don't tell them? So I will say that's about 95% of, I say 90. It's like 90% of church hurt. Still just address it. I'm not saying stay there and just take whatever they want to hand you, but I will say addressing the situation and letting someone know that, hey, I didn't like that you said that to me, I didn't like that you did that to me, that will solve a lot of the problems when it comes down to church hurt. So this video has already been too long. I have already talked too much. So I want you guys to like, comment, subscribe, share. This might help somebody. Leave. I said that, but I'm gonna say it again. Leave a comment down below of anything else that you want to discuss, or if you like this video, you want to respond to this video, leave a comment. I'm a friendly girl, as I just told you. I'm a friendly girl, and I like to have conversations. So like I said, the surprise is coming, guys. I promise it is. I'm just trying to get it all together. for you. So, surprise is coming. Stay tuned. Thank you for my subscribers that I do have, guys. I didn't know I was gonna get subscribers. It's shocking to me because I'm like, yo, I don't even do anything on this YouTube thing. But thanks, guys, again. Until next time, be safe out there, guys, and please social distance, and quarantine your face off. Okay, bye, guys. Until next time.
Cats, man, they all got this style from me. And if I ever see them, man, they probably bow to me. And when this beat drop, I know they gon'